Mike, obviously a game that went back and forth, a lot of emotions. I guess how would you evaluate the way your team kind of handled all the craziness that came with tonight?
Good at the end, good at the beginning. In between, just bounced on and off the rails. Defense, I thought, kept us in it. And then, then we helped ourselves offensively as far as getting back in it. And then, but, wins are hard no matter who you are. And then, sometimes there's games like that. And then, the toughest team sticks in there, battles through, and wins. And I did feel like that was the case. I do think we have some things to address because, you can't start fast and then kind of fall asleep at the wheel in the middle. At least it's not in your best interest by any stretch. But, we were tough enough to fight through some awfully tough situations. So I guess you could say we're tough and dumb. We are tough, though, and so that part's good. And we've got to learn to enjoy prosperity a little more. And, how do you enjoy prosperity? Well, you do all the stuff that got you there in the first place, all the little things. It's not some deal where you I'll get in trouble for this, I'm certain, but where instead of playing hard and getting a first down and getting a play, then, you want to sit behind a shade tree, eat a fish sandwich, and drink a lemonade with your fat little girlfriend. And that's what we're shooting for way too often, I thought. When can we relax, making judgments on plays? And, and it definitely bit us pretty hard, and it certainly created some obstacles we had to fight through. And, it'd be a lot better if we'd meant to do that in the first place. I wish I could tell you we did.
Steve. Coach, it seemed like they were doing a good job against you guys, like out in the flats, kind of taking those checkdowns away and those swing passes. Maybe what were they doing defensively to kind of limit some of those gains?
I think the biggest thing they did is, we had real good protection for like the first quarter. Then after that, we'd take turns not even being able to stop their feet. And then, it wasn't so much that, nothing's there. It's just we had to get rid of the ball so quick because, we weren't stopping their feet. Our protection broke down, and we, it was kind of a take turns deal. And, all it is just basic technique, all the stuff you work on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's all you got to do. And they obviously have some great players. If you want to know the quality of the players these guys have, go back and review all the articles you wrote about these guys when they were getting recruited. And, you'll see why we wanted nearly all of them. And they're good players. And they're the type of guys that are explosive enough that, if you flinch or you don't take care of your business, they'll make you pay. And then they'll about hit the quarterback in the mouth. And then out of desperation, as he's tossing to the running back, they'll blow him up,
Coach, when there was a minute left about in the game and Auburn scored that touchdown, what were the emotions that you were feeling, the thoughts going through your head on the sidelines?
I didn't have time for a lot of emotions. Because I had to think of the next play. And we definitely wanted to put our best foot forward, do everything we could to score. Obviously disappointed that they scored. I didn't even have time to enjoy that, sit there and be upset on the sideline. I didn't even get to event that, and then all of a sudden, they're kicking it off. And then I'm working on this trademark cough. What do you think? It's getting better, too. Then we marched it downfield. I thought we could have been closer, and then, well, he made 3 straight field goals, and we got credit for one of them.
Coach, Will Rogers broke MSU's career passing touchdown records and passing yards record on the
Who's?
same play. Dax.
Oh.
For the school.
Oh, all right.
How do you feel about his overall performance?
I guess I feel about like I do everybody else. You know, we're tough, gritty, we'll stick to it. We never surrender. You know, we are a team that never surrenders. We never surrendered. We'll never surrender. We've got to and not let our emotions affect us in between, which we did some. But, you know, he's one of our leaders. He's one of our leaders for sure. And then I think that he helped keep things afloat. But in between, I did feel like he played a lot like everybody else did, which was just kind of distracted, you know, relaxed at key times. You know, maybe felt like it was going to be easier than it was. And I don't know why anybody's looking for it to be easy. I mean, you know, you coach these guys to knock the hell out of one another, and then all of a sudden it's supposed to be easy. And then, so, anyway.
Mike, how kind of happy were you that Woody, a guy who's been here for years, how happy were you that he got to kind of have that moment in overtime? And also, I noticed earlier in the game after talking to the receivers, you flipped all their chairs and put them on the ground. What kind of was that about?
Yeah, well, because we were in that period of time where it sure seemed to me we were a lot more interested in sitting in that chair than being on the on the football field or rooting root for our teammates. And so it was my opinion that we ought to be rooting for our teammates, or, you know, can't wait to get on the field, you know, rather than kind of lounge it, because we pretty much had everything but playing cards over there, you know. And then, so I thought it was time to move on from that. And then, you know, so then Woody, if I can remember all your 5 questions in one. I was happy Woody scored. You know, Woody's a good player. Woody's a good player and has a lot of dimension to him, can really do a lot of things. Hits the hole very hard. Hits the hole very hard. And when he's really, really, really focused, that's when he's at his best.
Coach, I think we know the history of kickers at Mississippi State. For you guys to be able to kick the game-tying field goal, what do you think that speaks to the growth of special teams?
I think we've improved. We did a pretty good job putting it out of the end zone. 2 on the kickoff. Yeah, we've definitely gotten better, so that part's good.
Coach Auburn kicks off to Tulu in the first, runs it back 35 yards. They kick it back to him again. In the larger picture of the game, how big was that kickoff return as the game developed out?
It was pretty big. I thought it was huge, and I felt like I was really glad Tulu got one. Thought he deserved it. Because I think he's kind of gotten screwed out of about 3 more without commenting or saying anything inappropriate. And then I thought that, you know, we'd done some really good things on that team, and just good to see it finish out. I think offensively we let it affect us a little being on the bench as long as we were. We should have come out sharper than we did.
Go to Steve and then close out with Steph.
Coach, it appears you're seeing a lot less drop 8 these days and a lot more 4-man fronts and 5-man pressures. What do you kind of attribute that to, and, you know, what can you kind of do going forward to kind of combat that?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that this is what they do. These guys are a four-man pressure team. They just did what they do. That three-man drop eight's kind of a fad right now, and I think it'll last with some, and others will drop it. People in this business, offense and defense, tend to bounce around. I mean, what they're trying to do in most cases with the drop eight is give you the illusion that it's drop eight, and then, rifle those guys forward. And then it kind of, I think it's related a little. You'd have to ask a defensive guy. It's related a little bit to how much they really want to blitz. In some cases, I think they'd rather do that. It's a little more conservative version of that. And then the other thing is if you execute great, you'll execute the pass or the run. The run's not just a gimme on that drop eight, depending on how they design it. They say, here's three guys. Okay, here's four guys right there licking their chops. The second they read run, they're coming like four rockets in there to their gap, So really, instead of reacting to it, they just take a running start,
Mike, I had two questions. First one real quick. The onside kick, was that on purpose? What happened on that play?
Ours?
Yeah.
It wasn't really an onside kick. We were just trying to kick it through and squib it so they didn't have a return. But if you manage to hit one of those guys, you're probably going to get the ball.
Then to follow up, obviously this is the sixth win of the season. You've been here bowl eligible all 3 seasons that you've been here. I guess how important is that, in terms of building a program?
I think it's really important. I think it's an expectation, and I think also it's a deal where you have an opportunity to work and develop some guys, and just looking at our roster, we potentially have the vast majority of them back. So we'll see what unfolds there. And then we get to work with them, and do more stuff.